economy is supposed to be slowing down, the consumers are supposed to be hurting, but boy, people are still spending. Let me tell you, I know where I went or where we went, it was it was busy. So people definitely don't seem to be holding back. They seem to keep on swiping those credit cards. So yeah, let me know if you did anything fun over the weekend and stuff. So we definitely have a short week ahead of us. Obviously, low volume. Melt up on Friday, which I discussed in Sunday's video. If you didn't see it, I'll link it at the end, where I definitely went in detail on the index and stuff. And in this, we'll go over earnings, the expected moves. Some of these are huge expected moves. Some of them are very stunning when you see that they're retailers and not like tech stocks. And then, of course, we'll have a lot of data coming out this week on a very short week as well, and also go into some crypto stuff. Some of you guys requested and everything, and obviously, if you hadn't noticed, things are happening right now with the ETH approvals for their ETFs. Who knows when that's going to start trading? Some people speculate in a couple weeks, some people say a couple months, whatever it is, but crypto seems to be pushing up, which is going to affect certain stocks. We'll look at that. But if you look at the earnings, you're looking. Obviously, tomorrow you'll have Futu's kind of a popular one. Kava's another one. Nothing major on Tuesdays. And then you're going to end up with Abercrombie & Fitch, Chewy, Dick's, Advanced Auto Parts. This is where we're going to find out a lot about consumer as well. Salesforce, C3AI, UiPath, Okta. And then down at the bottom, you can see American Eagle Outfitter. Then Thursday, we end up with Canopy Growth, Kohl's, Foot Locker, Dollar General, Best Buy, Hormel, Burlington. And then in the afternoon, the big boy Costco, and then Dell, which has been on a complete tear, Escalar, Marvel, Ulta, which I talked about the other day, Sentinel One. And when you look at some of these expected moves, again, if you're playing this, I mean, some of them are big, some of them are not, but like Kava, plus or minus 11 to 12%. Salesforce, not bad, plus or minus 7, which shocked me. But again, C3AI, even Abercrombie & Fitch, anywhere from plus minus 14%. Foot Locker's plus or minus 16%. Gap up there plus or minus 14%. So they're expecting some big moves. Then you go to Ulta. I thought this would be a huge expected move, but nope, not at all. You see like plus or minus 6% right there. Again, we will have FOMC speakers coming out. We'll have red folder news like CB Consumer Confidence, and you'll have the next day Richmond Manufacturing Index, another FOMC speaker, the Beige Book. So no red folder news on Wednesday. Thursday, preliminary GDP, unemployment claims. Do we have more people filing this time than last week? Pending home sales. And then on Friday, you're going to have core PCE price index month over month, personal income, personal spending, and then Chicago PMI. So definitely plenty of news to move the markets on that one. Now, looking at stocks, as we look at the indexes yesterday, Tesla, right, still in this range right here. You're getting some minus 5% days, plus 5% days. Well, what I like to do is every once in a while with the stock is go through here and use anchor VWAPs. To sit there and go, man, this thing is getting wedged. What's it getting wedged between, right? It has to have resistance support somewhere in here. So if you look at the bottom at the 140 price and you put an anchor VWAP there, well, what's it doing? It's providing support, right? You go, okay, well, where are these two anchor VWAPs? Well, if I go to the high of the channel up here, then I put a year-to-date anchor VWAP in there. Well, that is definitely providing resistance, right? And then you add the 50 and the 100, which I already showed you guys, and all of a sudden, you got a squeeze going on here, right? I mean, absolutely compressing this price into this little bitty range right here between 171 and 187. And so whenever this does choose a path, whether it's up or down, you should see an absolutely explosive move out of it. And all of those anchor VWAPs above, as you can see, most likely will provide a whole boatload of resistance, but you got to move quite a bit to actually get there. And so this right here is definitely setting up for a major, major move. There's no doubt about that. When it does happen, again, I got this trend line right here, which we've seen multiple touches on. We'll see it's around like 193 if it gets there. If it breaks through or it gets rejected, my bet is it'll get rejected unless there's some kind of news that comes out or whatever. But again, this is just another one just stuck in the range. We see there's quite a few stocks. And when something consolidates this long, it's going to be a big move up, especially being compressed by all these anchor VWAPs and these moving averages and everything. And when you also pull up the MACD, you can see it does on the weekly have a bullish cross. Now, does that always mean it's going to move, super high? Nope, not really. It's usually when it comes across a zero line, but it does have one, so it's not a bearish thing or anything. Now, when you look at AMD, obviously we talked about the other day about this huge engulfing candle coming down to the bottom of that channel right there, and would it actually get a bounce? Well, it did. So this channel is still intact, as you can see, and playing out. AMD loves to trade in these channels right here. So we get to see if it's going to continue to move up. Again, these fair value gaps, and these also loves to use those and fill them. You can see it happen right there. That's what it sold down for. The next one right here, and this is a daily fair value gap, is up there between like 171, 178. So we'll see when we get up there. We should, you would think, get a push down from there, at least some resistance before it breaks through as it mitigates that one. And so we'll see if semiconductors are still going to continue just to feed off NVIDIA and move up, and this channel is going to continue to provide some kind of context to where AMD is going. Again, if it breaks down out of it, you're going to see a nice fall for sure. But again, the MACD is starting to come up over that 0 line, and that is very bullish, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, SHOP, still a hot mess with no momentum whatsoever. What was really crazy about Friday is it was a super green day, and what was red, it was SHOP, right? They did get an upgrade from Goldman Sachs and all that good stuff, but still no momentum. It's trying its best to hold this trend line right here. It actually closed just below it on Friday. There is a gap right down below it. And so again, it's a momentum name, right? It's like a Tesla. When there's no momentum, you're just going to end up trading sideways, and you could get pushed back down. But obviously, you know, it doesn't take a lot to get it going. A lot of people are saying, going, man, is this thing ever going to get moving? It needs something, right? It definitely needs something. I mean, you look at stochastic RSI, anything to do with momentum, and we'll bring up the MACD and everything else. And, you know, they're down at the bottom. They're trying to cross. They're trying to push up and move up. And once it gets above that 20, that would confirm, you know, some momentum trying to come back in here, trying to push this back up. And we know how this is. I mean, it doesn't take much to get it going, but right now it just has nothing at all. Because really, again, what it says, consumers are slowing down. And again, you know, it's an e-commerce. It's not like Amazon where you have, you know, the cloud and you have all these different kind of companies to keep you going when the consumer slows down. You just don't have that. So, you know, if this can get turned up, again, we talked about that MACD, if whatever cross, and especially get across that 0 line, then you're going to see a big move up on this one. Until then, you know, everything else is just guilty until proven innocent on this one. Now, you look at BABA. All the Chinese stocks sold off massively last week, which we expect after a massive move. We'll see if we're going to end up getting a test right here of this, basically stage 1, if you want to call it that, area to get a bounce. We have some green coming in there, barely green Friday. But again, we'll see, because this one, the PDD is about the only one that was really moving up really well. The rest of these just sold off quite a bit, but again, it was a massive move up. Well, when you look out on this thing, it will pull up, you know, again, you're trying to find like this stage 2, right? And you want that 30-week moving average to turn up. That's what you want, right? When you pull out on a weekly here and you look and bring in the volume profile, you can see if this thing gets above 94, then, man, you're most likely to see a lot of momentum come in, especially once it gets in that volume gap and really starts to move, if this move is legitimately real, okay, and Chinese stocks and stuff. And, you know, talking about crypto, obviously Bitcoin, a lot of people say it broke out of this channel. I don't know, my channel, I don't see a breakout. I see a false breakout, then it got rejected at the top of the channel. Let me know if you chart this stuff and everything. But, you know, if it does break out of the channel, yeah, you can see, obviously, testing, you know, new all-time highs and all that good stuff. But again, a lot of momentum in crypto right now, because now all of a sudden they're rolling on new ETFs for Ethereum and stuff. And that's a big deal, right? And when you come over here and we just look, and we'll pull up Ethereum, you know, you can see you're getting that stochastic cross in the weekly. Same thing Bitcoin got. Still needs to get above the 20 to really kind of confirm everything. But, you know, we knew when these things started getting confirmed, you would obviously see a big move up. And then when they finally say, okay, things are trading, that's normally when you get pushed down, but we don't know when that's going to be, right? And so, again, this one hadn't even reached new all-time highs yet. Okay, Bitcoin did, and Ethereum has not. And when you pull out, you can see the levels, right? When you're kind of looking at this thing, well, where can this thing go? Well, you know, people project this. People have projected anywhere from 6,000 to 8,000, depending on how you want to do it and stuff. You can go back and look, and you can see. I mean, it's almost doubled like every cycle. So if that was the case, you know, that's what some people are saying, 6,000 to 8,000, which could be a pretty safe number if we actually have a true altcoin season, right? Push up. It could be the case. Again, if something happens in the market and the market starts to show massive weakness, well, it's going to probably bring crypto down right along with it. All right, so the Bitcoin tends to follow the Qs and the tech stocks and everything like that. But when you look, you know, one way to forecast is to go the monthly and just draw you a trend line, right, from the last 2 cycles, and you pull that up and you go, okay. And then you can see, I'm going to try to draw this, but you can see it's basically this rounding bottom, momentum just pushing straight up. And that will put us anywhere from, you know, 70 7,000 to 8,000, depending on when it would hit that area and stuff. We still got plenty of time in the cycle. But when you look, and this will be an ugly draw on them, you can see that it's clearly continued to pick up momentum, and right there would put it, anywhere, like I said, 7,000 to 8,000, depending on what hit that and stuff and everything, probably in 2025 sometime. Assuming we don't hit a recession or go through anything crazy. But of course, what it's doing is going to light a fire in crypto stocks like Coin, for example. Once it hit one demand area, now it's up in another demand area, or supply area, I should say, at this point in time. But if they can push through that, this thing can absolutely explode. And again, if this MACD right here comes across that zero line, you can see the explosive moves in coin. I mean, this one moves really fast when it goes up. But again, you'll need Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the rest of them pushing higher. I mean, ours is going to be a fake out. We get that, and then we turn back over, right? And so keep in mind, I mean, this is a daily chart. It may have for a little while. But, this one right here can absolutely explode. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I've seen price targets anywhere from $350, $400, and you look at stochastic RSI, and we'll go up to the weekly up there, and you can see it has got its stochastic RSI bullish cross right now. We need to go above 20, try to confirm that. But this is one to watch out for sure. It can move fast. But again, if crypto does tank, this is going right along with it. That's the way it is. Let's don't trade off fundamentals or anything. Now, Hood's another one because they trade so much crypto in there. It has a bullish weekly stochastic RSI cross as well. Sitting there, came down, retested. So this is another one that can actually move. It busted this level right here. When you look at it, again, we'll bring up the MACD. And you can see, I mean, this one has pretty good momentum on the MACD. Again, some people say it's a cup and handle. Absolutely can get a cup and handle, right? So now it's in the handle. So when that breaks back above highest point on the cup, then obviously it could explode. When you look at this, just because the way this one works, when we bring up the volume profile, I mean, this thing right here could absolutely move, because you can see it to the left, it IPO'd, what was it, like $40? And then obviously crashed and burned here. So there's not a whole lot of resistance if it was going to move up. So, keep that in mind when it comes to Hood. And then you got CLSK setting up like so many miners where they're just squeezing, right? Squeezing, and waiting for this explosive move, because miners have been way lagging so far in this cycle and everything. And so, again, a lot of people waiting on this one right here. CLSK is obviously one of the more popular ones, along with Riot, Mara. But again, you just have to have momentum start to push into this thing. And a lot of the money, I think, is just still going into the crypto itself. Along with Coin, Mister, right, and the miners kind of getting left behind right now. But if they do break, and I've seen some crazy price targets for these right here, you saw what happened in the last cycle, right? This one also is getting a bullish stochastic RSI cross on the weekly, the larger time frames. That gives you the bigger moves to be looking out for, but also understand it's extremely volatile, extremely risky. And like I said, if for whatever reason we start showing weakness in especially the Qs and tech and everything else, and take a big push down, crypto will not be, not going along with that. They're going to show weakness too. That's normally how it works. Sometimes they divulge from each other and do their own thing. But if you pull up a QQQ chart and you pull up Bitcoin, you kind of see the same thing. But you really have to wait on Bitcoin to figure out what it's going to do, start consolidating, and then maybe you see the money start to flow into a lot of the altcoins. So we'll see. Put it down the bottom if you think it's going to be a real altcoin season. I think it's still up for debate at this point in time, but we'll have to see and stuff. But you got to think the ETH approval, you may see a sell down, but you saw it makes sense to me. It's like if you have these massive institutions behind a ton of Ethereum, then you would think that would push the price up and have people start FOMOing in and everything else trying to get in there. So, that's just my 2 cents on it. Let me know what you think down at the bottom and stuff. And I'm more than happy to put, these in there. I just don't like to do it because I get botted to death by these crypto scammers and everything else. But, we'll give it a shot and stuff. So, anyway, hope you guys got something out of it. Buckle up for a nice 4-day week. Probably going to be a very volatile one at that. So, please hit the like and subscribe button on your way out. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.
We've already gone through the first round of super investors, ones like Bill Ackman and Warren Buffett. If you haven't seen that video, it's the most recent one on this channel. Just go back and watch it. But now it's time for round 2. We have a whole new slate of super investors, and in my opinion, I actually think that this group of super investors may actually be better than the first. This is a fantastic group. We have, first of all, Stanley Druckenmiller, who is a macro investor, a trader. He goes short stocks and long stocks. He's very public in his opinions, and he has had incredible returns, numbers that most super investors would dream of. Around 30% returns for 20 years. It's incredible. We have Devkant Desaria, a high-quality, monopolistic investor. He only invests in companies that are really monopolies, and his portfolio is incredibly concentrated into one company. We'll be looking at that one company in this video. We have Stuart McLaughlin with Triple Fund. He's like an enigma. I can't find any pictures of him. I can't find much written about him. But Triple Fund, his fund is really, really concentrated into high-quality companies. It's had incredible performance. We have Josh Tarasoff. He's a super investor that's a little bit more small time. He only controls a couple $100 million, and he likes to invest in tech companies. Then we have Brad Gerstner. He's one that's a little bit more public. He's on Twitter and social media. He's made some statements about Google that I think are incorrect, but I want to look at his updated view on Google. And then, of course, we have Nelson Peltz, the Disney investor. We have Daniel Loeb from Third Point, and we have Mark Massey from Alta Rock Partners, another firm focused on very, very powerful companies. So this is a very good slate of super investors. I'm excited to dive in to give perspective and context and commentary on what they're doing with their portfolios. Let's go ahead and jump in. The first investor is a legend called Stanley Druckenmiller. He's one that has gone decades with incredible performance. He takes a lot of macro bets. He takes concentrated positions. He'll go long on short stocks, and he's a bit of a trader and a bit of an investor. He'll take big concentrated positions in a stock, hold it for a year or two, and then dip out of it. That's his investing style. Now, that doesn't work for everyone. He's not like a Warren Buffett where you buy and hold for years, but it works for Stanley Druckenmiller. He has the record to back up what he says, and that's what makes what he says so interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look at his portfolio in recent trades. The first thing that I see here, his largest position, is actually a call option on IWM, meaning that he's trading this, he's going long on it, and IWM is an ETF for the Russell 2000. So he's going long on smaller companies right now, probably because bigger ones traded up so much, he sees some type of bet with smaller ones. We also look at his biggest individual companies, so this is an actual investment, not a call option, but his biggest individual investment is Microsoft. It's 12% of the portfolio. I look at Microsoft as just a very safe bet. This is one that I notice at the top of many super investors' portfolios. Microsoft and Google are two of the favorites for super investors. Then in third place, with an 11% position, we have Coupang, ticker symbol CPNG, which is an e-commerce company in South Korea. Then we have Tech, T-E-C-K. Tech is a materials company, a commodity company that works in North America, Europe, and Asia. So he has a bet on this, but he's been reducing his position. It currently makes up around 5% of the portfolio. Then we get to VST. This is another energy company. I've seen this one pop up in a couple super investors' portfolios. It depends on whether or not they're doing the oil trade, the energy trade. With someone like Stanley Druckenmiller, he's always trading in and out of companies. He's someone, again, that does a little bit of swing trading. He will buy highly cyclical companies. Then we have a healthcare company, NTRA. This company seems very complicated to me. It's a diagnostics company that develops and commercializes molecular testing services worldwide. Now, I don't think that he believes he has any expertise in this, but he does have a lot of partners and he trades based on themes. This is another thing that I noticed with Stanley Druckenmiller. He does not feel like he has to be experts in the industry or in the company to have a feeling on what direction it will trade. If he believes there is some trend or something to get in on, he will trade that company. Now, the next largest holding in his portfolio is NVIDIA. This has been his biggest winner in his portfolio over the past couple of years, but he recently sold a big chunk of this holding. In fact, he took NVIDIA from a 9% weighting down to a 3.6% weighting. So he took a lot of gains off the table, reducing the stake by 71%. In this interview, he gives some background and explanation into his history with NVIDIA, the reason he got into the stock, why he held it when he did, and why he's now trimming it. Let's take a listen.
NVIDIA, my young partner was early with NVIDIA. He called me in the fall of 20.
So he first says, I wasn't early to NVIDIA. My young partner, his investing partner, was. So there's like a younger guy working with him that's like, NVIDIA is the place to be right now. Stanley Druckenmiller listens to him because he realizes he's not an expert in this stuff. So he's listening to his other partner here.
22 and said that he thought all this excitement about blockchain was going to be far outweighed by AI, and I asked him how to play it, and he told me I should.
By the way, what an excellent observation by his partner. He said all this excitement about blockchain is going to be far outweighed by AI. That's a very simple statement, but how accurate was that? Remember just a couple years ago, people couldn't stop talking about blockchain? That's all you heard about was the blockchain company. There's memes about every company becoming the blockchain company. Now it's AI. He was ahead of his time by a couple years.
Should buy this company, NVIDIA. I didn't even know how to spell it. I bought it. Then a month later, ChatGPT happened. Even an old guy like me could figure out, okay, what that meant. So I increased the position substantially. I said in an interview in June of that year that I expected to own NVIDIA for 2 or 3 years, that this was a mega trend like I'd never seen, potentially bigger than the internet.
He says that he doesn't know how to spell NVIDIA. And this is the guy that's made millions, billions of dollars on NVIDIA, a company he didn't know how to spell. That's how he trades. It's so different than many investors. If you ask other super investors, the companies that they're invested in, they will know what the CEO had for breakfast that day. They'll know every single little detail about the company. And here he is making a fortune, not knowing how to spell the name of the company that he's investing hundreds of millions of dollars in. It's incredible how good he is at intuition.
But when the stock went from 150 to 900, I'm not Warren Buffett. I've known things for 10 or 20 years. I wish I was Warren Buffett. And 150 to 900, yes, we did cut that position, a lot of other positions in late March. I just need a break. We've had a hell of a run. A lot of what we recognized has become recognized by the marketplace now. We expected Powell to come back and repivot, which he subsequently did. But no, long term, we're as bullish on AI as we've ever been. You just wonder, if we were all sitting here in 1999 talking about the internet, or anybody was talking about it, I don't think anybody would have estimated it would be as big as it got in 20